morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. And this morning, like many American parents, I woke up with a sick feeling in my stomach, thinking about all the loss of life that happened in yet another school shooting. And like many American parents, I faced that sickening role knowing that I was going to need to take my child to school, say goodbye to him this morning, and say I love you, and that there were parents yet again who did this yesterday and have lost their children. This is absolutely unthinkable. And I want to just take a moment this morning at the start of the show to talk about a few different aspects of this that I think are important. Something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. This was the 18th school shooting this year in the United States. And no matter what side you are on or what you think is causing this, can we all just agree that something is horribly, horribly wrong? And I think if we all start there and then move to taking personal responsibility for what we can do, because something has to change, and we owe it to our children to do that as quickly as possible. I heard many different things this morning about we must do something. Then it's incumbent upon each and every one of us to do something. There are many different aspects of this, and some that have the potential, not some, all of them have the potential to affect the autism community, and that is why we're talking about it. I want to start by reading the release that was put out this morning by the Autism Society of America. It says, Statement of the Autism Society of America on Parkland, Florida school shooting. And it is dated today. The Autism Society of America extends our thoughts and prayers to the families of the 17 innocent high school students who were killed and those injured while at school in Broward County, Florida. We can't imagine the grief and sorrow of all impacted by these shootings. We thank the first responders and teachers who were there to help students through this horrific tragedy. Some media outlets and social media messages are suggesting the individual arrested for these killings may have autism. In some news reports, the reporting of his diagnosis may imply a linkage of an autism diagnosis and committing violence. No reliable research has found that a person who is autistic is more likely to commit violence than a person without an autism diagnosis. In fact, existing research finds that autistic individuals are more likely to be victims of violence than those without an autism diagnosis. In some cases, a person with autism may have a secondary diagnosis related to mental health. There is no confirmation of the diagnosis of the individual arrested. We ask that those reporting about this tragic event not suggest or imply any linkage of autism and violence. Implying or suggesting that a person who is diagnosed with autism is violent is not only wrong, but hurtful to the over 3.5 million individuals living in the United States and any other individual with an autism diagnosis. We again strongly encourage Congress and state legislatures to bring together experts on violence and develop a comprehensive and effective national response to stop these senseless killings. I think it's a very well crafted statement, and we at Autism Live agree wholeheartedly. There were reports, of course, in the night, unsubstantiated as yet, that this individual may have been on the autism spectrum. I want to say again, I think it is incumbent upon all of us to take personal responsibility. Whatever you think, do something. You can call your congressional leaders and hold them accountable. A year ago, almost to the day, a bill was signed that made it more possible for people with mental illness to have guns than previously. I don't understand the logic behind that. As a mother And as a former teacher, I don't understand that. But, maybe we make mistakes and we fix them. I encourage you, talk to your elected officials and let them know how you feel, whatever it is that you feel. I also encourage everyone to do your level best at home and at your school to make sure that your child is safe, that they understand what to do and how to follow directions. There were some cases, it appears in the early reporting, that there were teachers who did not follow protocol because of the way things happened, which I do not in any way think was their fault. First, the fire alarm went off, and that suggested that they should leave their classrooms. But then there were later protocols, and it was confusing. But lives were lost because of that. Find out from your child's school what they do. Volunteer at your child's school. I take great issue with the fact that this young person had identified himself in many different ways that he was in crisis. And I want to say that when we look at who is perpetrating these crimes, and they are crimes, we're seeing mental illness time and time again, and we are seeing, if we're looking for a pattern, it's not an autism diagnosis. There is a pattern, overwhelming pattern, that these people have parents who have said to the school and said to the community, I'm having a problem, I'm having a behavior issue, and that they are not getting the answers that they need. We as a community need to make sure that our schools know what the resources are to be able to give people help, so that these kinds of things don't happen. And volunteer at your school, get to know, see, and recognize and encourage your school not just to expel students who are having problems. Can we not acknowledge that that is not, saying to somebody, you're not fitting in here, so you go away? Not helpful to anyone. Devastating. Our thoughts and our prayers are with all of the family members. I just can't even imagine what you're going through right now. We have to do better. We have to. Please take whatever action you have and that you feel that you must, because something has to change.